This should have been included in the previous episode, but after beating Queen Bee, I got a new NPC in town who, in hard mode, is able to sell me my first set of wings. Wings are important in hard mode. They are pretty much a straight upgrade to the rocket boots, giving you much longer hang time in the air as well as much better maneuverability. And they completely negate fall damage just by themselves, so I can replace my lucky horseshoe while also keeping the boots for the huge amount of extra move speed I'm getting from them. All of this is very important for dealing with a lot of the bosses that I'm now going to be encountering in this brave new world. Because, yeah, I mean, even what I'm doing right now, building a gigantic sky bridge, is all for creating just an enormous arena. Because bosses, as the name hard mode would imply, are getting a lot harder. I did a very similar sort of thing all the way down in Hell for the Wall of Flesh, but really with the loadout I had, it wasn't entirely necessary. But here, having a sky bridge that spans, 3 or 4 different biomes, it's going to be completely dressed up with like a bunch of sunflowers, heart lanterns, bonfires, even like peace candles to reduce spawn rates there's no way I'm going to be able to dodge around some of the bosses without this sort of gigantic area available for me. And of course, it's like as soon as I'm able to finish with that, we get this happening. The very first hard mode invasion event. It's it's a pretty big step up from the goblins, but additionally, it is also, they also drop a lot better stuff than the goblins. That said, I do have to actually be able to kill some of these guys to get some of that stuff in the first place, so yeah. I'm not very prepared for this. Well, in some ways, I'm actually very prepared for this because of the meteor staff that I crafted out of, a couple souls of light and those meteorite bars that I got a couple episodes ago. But I tried to do it in a more traditional way to start with, and, well, you can kind of see how it's working out. Now, the meteor staff, the great thing about the meteor staff is that it calls down meteors from the sky, which means what I can do is I don't even need to go out to meet the pirates. I can just sit inside of the house, or more specifically, sit inside of a house that pirates can't get into, and then just rain meteors down on their head. But, well, I want to at least give a try in a more traditional way. Ah, well. And, oh yeah, going back to the subject of wings, there are actually a lot of different types of wings of varying quality, speed when you're in the air, the amount of time that you spend flying, a lot of different stuff like that, and leaf wings are kind of the worst out of the ones you can get. However, they are the easiest ones to get. All you need to do is beat the Queen Bee and have that NPC in a jungle biome, and you just need to spend a platinum to get them. Platinum might be a lot of money, but it is worth every single penny because that extra maneuverability, basically the infinite amount of jumping, it's all great. And yeah, you can see this is pretty much what the event is going to be from this point. There's even a boss that spawns that can't really attack me if I'm sitting in the house just raining meteors down on their head. And like I said, this is a very easy thing to craft immediately. You just need a few meteorite bars, you need to spend a little time in the underground hollow to get the souls of light, and that's pretty much it. Then you have an item that can very safely attack enemies. Now, that's not going to be true for every single enemy, but at least pirates don't have any ability to pass through walls, so it's at least safe for this. And since you're most likely to be encountering the pirates first off before anything else in hard mode, unless you're much better prepared than I, it's like this is a pretty good way to approach this. I think the way that a lot of people approach early hard mode is... Oh, wait, actually, I said there was nothing in the pirates that could go through walls. There is one thing. Once you beat the pirate captain mini-boss character that you saw me do there, now in Journey's End, it spawns a pirate ghost, which then attacks you, which is super fun. And kind of caught me off guard there, because I forgot about that. Well, anyway... Yeah, you can see even against the boss that spawns. What is this thing called? The Jolly Roger or something? Still can't even attack me if I'm able to use the meteor staff against it. Which is good because it's It is so important in Master Mode to be able to beat this boss. Because it drops, it's Master Mode only, but it drops one really good item, which I do believe, yeah, there we go. Now I can actually see what I'm trying to hit here. Which I do believe I actually get here, right here. Yeah, the black spot. Which you will be seeing a lot of in the future. It's like I said, Master Mode only. It is a mount that allows you to fly and is also super, super fast. Now, it can be a little bit difficult to actually fight the Jolly Roger, or whatever it's called. Flying Dutchman, I think it's actually called. But, like, Meteor Staff made that pretty easy. There's a couple things you can do. Maybe try and, like, only have a single block that you shoot through with, like, a gun weapon, or try to use a yo-yo through. I know that for a lot of people trying to deal with early hard mode, there's a mini boss you can spawn that is like a biome specific mimic. By getting 15 souls of light or souls of night, you're able to spawn like a magic key that when you put it in an empty chest will create that boss, and that can drop a type of bow called the Daedalus Star Bow, which does a very similar sort of thing to the Meteorite Staff. It's just the Meteorite Staff was so easy to build. A couple Souls of Light, a couple Meteorite Bars that I wasn't even really using too much anyway. It was all pretty trivial to get this thing. And even though I do have to wait for my mana to get back up pretty often, it does do good damage, and it does do good damage through walls, which is not a whole lot of weapons, especially at this point in the game, that can do that. Okay, I was actually prepared for fighting the Pirate Ghost this time. Not that it went too well. I mean, the one thing that I got out of this event, the one thing I wanted to get out of this event, the black spot, I did manage to get. Because, you know, that's infinite flight. And although it takes a little while to kind of like accelerate, once you do get to max speed with that thing, you can actually outrun a lot of the bosses. In fact, in Master Mode, I think it's actually a little bit cheap to be using that mount, which is actually why I tried to go a little bit more traditional way of fighting and not just completely abuse that thing to fly through the sky. I mean, I built like the entire sky bridge and everything like that, and to just be like, yeah, but I'm just gonna use this cool Master Mode specific mount to fight him. It just, I don't know. Let me tell you, I did give a lot of attempts against all of the bosses without that, but it's just like, well, you'll see. They were a lot of hard fights. All right, well, that's pretty much it for the pirates. Like I said, I got the mount, which is the one thing I wanted. I also got a lot of gold and a lot of golden furniture, which is very gaudy, but I like the look of it, as well as a relic for the one new boss I fought. First of the hard mode bosses now, which is good, but yeah. I mean, the good thing about all the golden furniture that the pirates drop is that it is worth a lot of money, even if you don't want to use it, but it's like, as far as actual attacking items go, I would say, like, it's, like usable items, it's a little bit more questionable for pirates. New NPC that spawns here, too. Now, it's in Master Mode, it's that black spot. It is just so good that, it's hard to overstate. It's a mount that gives you infinite flying. In previous versions of the game, it's like you would have to get that. Wait, what the hell is going on down here? What is up with the whatever? I got this Nimbus staff from like a rainy day enemy that's like an angry cloud drops it. I don't really use it too much, but hey, it's at least very good in this particular circumstance. Yeah, I guess, I was saying last time that I don't really know where all of those skeletons and zombies happen to come from, but I think it's pretty clear right now that I guess it's the endless amount of pirates. Hey, they turn into ghosts when they die. I don't know. Well, anyway, with the sky bridge completed and with the black spot attained, I am now going to go around and start creating kind of just a big arena to fight things. Sure, I'll have the giant sky bridge for enemies that require you to just like run in a single direction, but then I'll also have this gigantic like hollowed out pit that I will use for like fighting enemies that, you know, work a little bit better when you're just kind of like going around in a circle around them. And if they have stuff that, like, say, lasers that can't go through walls, I can put just a little strip of solid blocks in the center. The last time that I was playing Master Mode, I actually got a good amount of usage out of this. But I was also playing that game, like, a lot different. I had, like, a lot of different upgrades and a lot of different items compared to what I'm doing right now. And there's stuff like that Daedalus Starbow that I was talking about earlier. Can make short work of some of the bosses, even as much as it's been nerfed in some of the more recent patches. Well, you know, something that will give me, you know, something where I can just centralize all of my buffs and have, like, one big arena for fighting in is generally a pretty good idea, I'd like to say. And might have actually been a very good idea if I decided to fight the other early hard mode boss that was introduced, the a hollow specific one, a slime boss, but well, on Master Mode, I think that thing, even though technically it's supposed to be early hard mode, let me tell you, it took me a very long time to beat it the last time I was playing the game. So I kind of opted not to do that and go the more traditional route for hard mode instead. Which, you know, with good enough stuff, with enough planning and everything, it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, obviously I can really kind of like pick and choose the fights now that I'm no longer forced to be in hell or outside of the dungeon or in the jungle or something like that. Man. And I still have not gotten it confirmed or not if enemies spawn a lot quicker on Master Mode, but I swear they do. Oh, there's a good look at the greenhouse. Yeah, I'm slowly starting to fill in some of the town square with some actual housing for a lot of the stuff I'm doing, rather than just having a whole bunch of clay pots sitting on the roof of my house. It's like, no, it's a lot more formalized now, which I think is, you know, it's at least making it look a little bit nicer. Not that I'm super concerned with the looks of the establishments around here. I mean, for the most part, that kind of starts and stops with me using Dynasty Wood, because I think that has a really nice look, and you can also buy a million of it for nothing from the traveling merchant if he happens to be carrying around Dynasty Wood. But yeah, it's aside from that, I'm not really doing too much other than big, huge boxes for each one of my NPCs that I got moving in here. All right. Slowly but surely starting to come together. Getting a bunch of these glass platforms to grapple onto. There's no reason I'm using glass other than I think it looks good. And just in general, like different levels that I can land on to refresh my wings fly time as I'm going through here. Also just getting tons and tons and tons of enemies spawning. One of the great things about making an arena like this, if you actually decide to do so, is that it is a great place for a lot of mimics to congregate, and those can give you a lot of gold, as well as some decent items, especially early in hard mode, but yeah. It's still annoying to try to do anything in here, too. By the way, I didn't even make any mention that it's like I'm wearing the Skeletron mask. I don't know, I thought that looked good, and since I happened to manage to get it in the previous episode, why not? I don't know. Looking like a skeleton is not really something I'm all that interested in, but I'm doing it anyway. Oh, yes. Speaking of an easy place for mimics to spawn, here's one of those biome-specific mimics that I was talking about before. This one is a crimson mimic. Now, no, there is no actual chest that looks like this in the game. They're only mimics if you see them, and well, I guess it's pretty nice that I got one to spawn here, because they can give you some pretty good items. But if nothing else, you know, being a kind of mini-boss type of character, it is also a good example of, like, the sort of maneuverability of the wings, as well as what I'm kind of hoping to get out of the arena as it exists. Very, very easy to jump around these guys, even as it's trying to Super Mario Brothers 3 Bowser me to death. Also, watch out when it closes itself, because it does reflect back, the projectiles at you like that, which can be very deadly. Oh, well, aside from that, I'm using the Ichor arrows, as well as an adamantite repeater. So, like, I'm lowering its defense quite a bit. I'm doing damage, but being a mini-boss, it does have a lot of health. But hey, with the huge arena that I've created, it's a lot of easy ways to move around here. Really no problem at all defeating it. And then it gives me... Well, it takes away half of my health in a single hit. But, yeah, it gives me the... Yeah, what was this? Yeah, this was the dart pistol. There's a dart gun that you could get by breaking some of the... I think you got the dart gun by breaking the heart orbs before, but I never happened to see that. It was just all Undertakers all the time. And now, first attempt against the boss. This one is the Destroyer. Crafted up with just a couple Souls of Night, a few of the vertebrae, and a bunch of iron bars. I told you they were going to be important. It is a gigantic worm that spawns a lot of these probes, and you can already see what I'm talking about, where it's like having solid platforms and everything kind of in the middle of the arena could be useful, and I am just, no, I can't deal with this. Should have focused the probes a little bit more. But it was a valiant attempt. So anyway, like 5 or 6 tries later, I swear that when I did this in the previous Master Mode playthrough, I had a much easier time. Obviously, being a gigantic enemy like this, piercing is really good, and something to take care of the probes is really good. That's about it. But yeah, 5 or 6 times later, I just said, alright, well, I got the black spot for a reason. I might as well use it, even though it kind of invalidates the whole creation of the gigantic... It invalidates the whole creation of the gigantic arena that I just spent all that time doing, but I suppose it did give me the dart pistol, which I am actually using to pretty good effect now. With crystal darts, those bounce between enemies, which will take out the probes pretty well, and I think will also hit multiple parts of the Destroyer at once, dealing an awful lot of damage. And I'm also trying not to just entirely focus on using... whatever, I'm just using the black spot. It does make it a lot easier, that's for certain, but it just is... It's like, why even make this arena? I could have just went after the Destroyer as soon as I got that item. I mean, I suppose, yeah, the dart pistol is pretty good and everything, but still. Well. So, I mean, obviously, after I'm able to beat this boss, a lot of things open up from here, and that's going to make fighting the other 2 of the mechanical bosses, as they're known, much easier. But still got to get to that point first. I mean, this is kind of like what I would say is the first really big hurdle to hard mode. Because after this, there are a number of things. I'll be able to craft a very, very good gun out of the thing this thing drops. New NPC moves into town that, like I said, will make it a lot easier to set up some very good arenas. And, what else? There's a couple things that happen after you beat your first mechanical boss. But it is kind of difficult to get to that point in the first place. Well, anyway, as you can see, it's kind of trivial when it comes to using this. But this is a master mode only mount, so I suppose you normally wouldn't have this exact advantage. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I got the map open right now is to be able to see where the head of the Destroyer is, because if that hits me, that is like literally 90% of my health done in a single strike. And I think that on like normal mode, getting hit by the head of the Destroyer will do the same amount of damage as getting shot by one of these probes once in Master Mode. It's like that's the sort of difference you're looking at between the difficulties. And one of the reasons why, I mean, you know, that and the fact you don't really get too much more for doing Master Mode. You get some of these special mounts or special pets, which I think I'm going to get... Which I think I've already gotten in the form of like a bee that I have following me around, if I don't remember that right or not. Maybe that's after this. It's like, otherwise it's just, you're taking so much more damage. You're taking the Destroyer, this gigantic mechanical worm, literally running into you in damage from regular enemies. All right, well, that's the first one done, and it wasn't even that hard. Dart pistol did do pretty good. Crystal darts that I made out of getting the crystals that I farmed up from underground were... Yes, that's one of the things that happens after you beat your mechanical boss. That's right, another event. Here it is, the solar eclipse. You get attacked by a bunch of universal movie monsters, whether you're creatures from Black Lagoon, your Draculars, your Frankenstein's, Pinhead from Hellraiser for some reason. They're all here, although I don't think Pinhead spawns yet. You got to beat more bosses for that to kind of start coming up. There's not quite a boss for this particular thing, but there is a... But there is a very difficult mini-boss, but that's not going to spawn, and it's also not even going to be dropping any good items until I beat a few more bosses. Because like I said, everything in this game works off of that. And aside from that, NPCs will also sell special and usually like much better items when a solar eclipse is going on. The items that these guys drop, actually pretty good. There's one that turns you into a merman when you enter water, so you don't need to worry about drowning anymore. The Draculars will give you an accessory that ups your stats at night, which can be combined with some other stuff to create like a very, very good, just simple stat increasing accessory eventually. And like I said, also, as you get a little bit farther on and more difficult enemies start spawning alongside the usual Universal movie monsters, you can also get some other special weapons here or special materials to craft up weapons. So it's not too bad, but it is not something that lasts to 100%. It is something that lasts all day, and that can be real long sometimes. Oh, well, at least Dart Gun is definitely doing a lot of really good work here, bouncing between enemies. I was either thinking Dart Gun with crystal darts or Ichor darts, because Ichor will split after like a short distance into 5 darts, and that can be good for like fighting bosses too. But at the same time, the Destroyer is immune to the Ichor debuff, and just in general, I think bouncing around between enemies with like the huge amount of segments the Destroyer had and the huge amount of enemies that I'm fighting right now, I'm getting more usage out of the crystal darts. You can see kind of my basic strategy with the sky bridge is just whenever I see an enemy running towards me, I drop down and they will drop down to try and get to me, but I got wings, so I can just fly right back up. Works on pretty much everything except for the Draculars, which also have a bat form to fly up and meet me again. It's annoying, but I mean, well, first off, I want to fight those guys more than the other regular enemies anyway, because they got that one accessory that I'm looking for. But also, as long as I know they're there, they're not going to be sneaking up on me. Yeah, you get your first solar eclipse spawning. The second that you beat one of them, well, you get a chance at the solar eclipse spawning as soon as you beat your first mechanical boss. And I had it happen before I could even craft up that really good gun that I wanted to get. I was talking about using some of the drops that you get from the Destroyer to create like a great upgrade in the form of a gun. Well, I do need like a few shark fins for that, which is why I was trying to go into the ocean before, the solar eclipse decided to spawn immediately. Well, anyway, new NPC here, being the Destroyer, gives you the steampunker. And the steampunker sells a few good things, but maybe the most important out of any of them is the Blend-O-Matic machine. That will take slime and stone blocks and turn them into asphalt. And asphalt means that you get like a much faster acceleration time when you're running and a much higher top speed, which... Yeah, basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be immediately replacing the entire sky bridge that I just made with asphalt blocks instead, because, well, you know what's really going to up my maneuverability? Being able to go, at sonic speeds just by running on it. Sure, I'm not going to be able to run too fast when it comes to flying in the air because, like I said, leaf wings are not the best. But that shouldn't really matter too much, because if I need to outrun, say, a lot of lasers, like with the destroyer fight, it's much easier to... I really don't need to be flying around an awful lot. So yeah, I pretty much went all the way over to the arena that I had built earlier with those asphalt blocks. And that will be good. The other thing the steampunker sells is... oh, by the way, another thing that I forgot about doing after I beat Skeletron is rescuing this NPC from the dungeon, the mechanic, which allows you to create a bunch of contraptions, or whatever you would say, with wire and switches and stuff like that. That will do various things, but I think it becomes most useful when you get the steampunker and she sells you teleportation pads. Yeah, it's like, what does it even matter? I mean, sure, I got all the asphalt for just basic running around. However, you know what's even faster than running? Instant teleportation, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing here. But first off, since this is the first time that I'm actually using the mechanic, I'm kind of building the best item that she has to offer. Much like getting the boots as soon as I got the Goblin Tinkerer, this is very similar to that, where I buy like one of each one of her things as well as a ruler from the Goblin. Then I can combine all of them together into the grand design. That just makes it a lot easier to do like fancy building stuff, of which I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of things. I'm mostly just going to be setting up these teleportation pads, but it's still going to make it much easier to do. And also, I made the mistake of making that a button. Don't make that a button. Make that like a lever that you have to activate, not something that gets activated as soon as you walk on top of it, because that also includes enemies, and it can be annoying for many reasons. There's that sonic speed I was talking about. It's pretty good. Didn't quite have enough slime and stone to be able to completely fill that out, but hey, it's good. And then I had to make it a little bit shorter. I couldn't go quite to the end of the asphalt blocks because otherwise bosses would despawn if I teleported on top of that. But I did replace them with actual levers, so I'm not going to accidentally activate them running over it. Though that is a strategy that I'm going to want to employ a little bit later on for a different boss. Yeah. Alright, next up, Skeletron Prime. Last episode beat Skeletron. This episode, well, Skeletron Prime. It's Skeletron, except he's got a lot more grabby claws that shoot out bombs. He's got like a, what is that? Laser shooting thing on it. I'm not even sure what you call that. And like a, I don't know. I can't quite tell exactly what he's got for each four of the things, but I think that might be like a chainsaw or something. Anyway, this is definitely one of the bosses that I was talking about where you want to just kind of like go around in a circle more than anything else. And I'm actually kind of outrunning Skeletron a little bit because, as you can see, his whole like spinning towards you attack is no problem when I'm on the asphalt right now. But yeah, this is not really the time to be like running in a single direction or trying to be very cute with teleporters. I just want to kind of go around in a circle to take this guy out. And as you can see, I did manage to get that upgrade to the gun. I'm now using a Mega Shark, one of the best hard mode weapons, period. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of other people use it because it's very good. With Ichor bullets for the extra damage reduction, and also because it's very easy to make that. Crystal bullets would be the other thing to take here because they do split into shards. I mean, kind of like how the darts would bounce between enemies. Ichor bullets split into shards that can hit multiple enemies or a boss multiple times because they tend to be larger than regular enemies. And it's just has good DPS, shoots very fast, can be made as soon as you beat up the destroyer, and then it makes fighting the other two bosses much easier. Although, really, I think even if I was still using the same dart gun, I mean, I might have actually been a little bit better. Bouncing between each one of Skeletron's limbs might have been able to take him out faster. And then I might have, and then, like, I wouldn't have needed to worry as much about dodging around. I want to say usually when you're fighting Skeletron, you usually do want to focus on taking out the arms. OG Skeletron, you couldn't even really do that much damage to the skull until you took out his hands. But here, you don't necessarily need to fight him, it just makes it a lot easier. And I mean, as you can see, it's like as long though as I am going fast enough, I'm not going to get grabbed by his claws or whatever. And like I said, not too difficult at all to be fighting this guy once you got the right stuff. This is the sort of thing where it's like the first mechanical boss, real tough. The remaining two mechanical bosses, not nearly as bad. Much more manageable. And yeah, there are also items that you can create if you, say, fight Skeletron or the other mechanical boss first that will be able to take out the destroyer much faster. You know, stuff that has, like, piercing abilities that will, like, bounce on walls and stuff like that. So they do all kind of, like, create their own weaknesses as long as you can kill one of them. But really, it's like the Mega Shark's so good. It's just a gun that shoots really fast and has good DPS. And that's what I was talking about with wanting to go ranged eventually. As much as I really, really tried to make magic work, especially with Meteor Staff, which I think can get some pretty good DPS out, it's like it just wasn't doing it. I need my sweet, sweet Mega Shark, that's what. And this thing is going to be lasting me for quite a while, let me tell you. This will last you for most of hard mode, in fact. All right, so Souls of Might pairing up with the Souls of Fright that I've now gotten. Souls of Might that I've gotten from Destroyer. Souls of Fright that I've gotten from Skeletron. Souls of Night and Light. Look, you're getting it. And now, I wasn't able to do this after fighting the Destroyer. He did not give me enough Hallow bars for that. But after fighting Skeletron Prime, I am able to upgrade my Adamantite armor into Hallow armor, which I think gives me the ability to occasionally dodge attacks, just by not getting hit for a couple seconds or something like that. And now, you know, the last one I used the Asphalt to like the greatest extent I possibly could. Now I'm going to be using the Teleporters against the Twins, the, needless to say, mechanical version of the Eye of Cthulhu. These guys are probably the hardest of the three, but being able to teleport back and forth, I mean, yeah, I'm teleporting back and forth. Because normally the one on the ground shooting the like green fire at me would maintain like a very small distance away from you, which is kind of frustrating. I forgot I didn't take out the button there. I should have done that because that could have easily despawned the boss, which would have been very frustrating. Look, that's a lot of like Souls of Night and Souls of Light that I'm using, as well as like iron bars that I'm using to summon these guys in the first place. Well, anyway, yeah, the way it like maintains a specific distance from you, shooting you with stuff, while the one above you then shoots you with lasers, can be really frustrating to deal with. But you can just teleport back and forth. Like, who cares? They have to run to meet you, during which time I am just pelting them with bullets constantly. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about with like this arena being very good and becoming much easier as I'm able to beat even just a single mechanical boss. It's not the fastest way to fight them, but oh lord, is it the safest way to fight them. I mean, to be honest, it's like with the teleporter and everything, I could have probably... Nope, looks like the fire one has gone into phase 2, where it's transformed to a mechanical maw, and now is much faster, does that thing like the Eye of Cthulhu did, where it would dash at you, which is maybe the real reason more than anything else I wanted to have this whole teleport system. If you just run one direction, you'll be fine against the eyes for the most part. However, when it gets to this phase, the mouth one starts going so fast that it's much, much more difficult to outrun him. But that doesn't really matter if you're teleporting. So, yeah. It's like, yeah, with this sort of setup, it's like I didn't even need like the Mega Shark or anything to be able to run away. And I also got the nurse there, just in case worse comes to worse. It does slow down an awful lot to start using its flamethrower attack, but... man, the second... I mean, maybe with the Asphalt, I could probably try to outrun that a little bit better. But I wasn't even going to worry too much about it. Anyway, without that guy there, the laser shooting one is pretty trivial. I mean, it's very easy to dodge those lasers as long as you're not getting accosted by the other eyeball there. which they have names, but I do not remember what they're called. They're just known as the Twins as a unit. Now, it's in Phase 2, which, you know, metallic and gives the ability to shoot out lasers faster, but whatever, it does not matter compared to when it's by itself. To the point that I could really just tank the lasers. It's not very accurate, to be honest, with those things. Like, I went to the nurse just to be able to heal up, and it's like, oh, I didn't even need to. Yep. And that is all 3 of the mechanical bosses. Opening up the jungle growing restless, which means the next boss that I need to fight is down there, and what, like a couple other things, because now I'm able to use each one of the souls. Might, Sight, and Fright. Yeah. To craft the next tier of pickaxe. And additionally, yeah, it was that easy that I decided to go fight it again. I actually did the same thing with Skeletron Prime. But, like, yeah, being able to craft this next tier of stuff now means that there is other stuff in there's a new type of ore that appears now in the jungle that I can go start mining up, getting the next tier, the next tier of equipment. Yes, after I just got the Hallow equipment, or I'm already going to be replacing it with something else.